Hi everybody, my name's Carolyn Mackey. I am going to be your faculty for this course in Family Public Policy. I'm very excited to spend the next 5 weeks with you. I've been a faculty at NKU for, a little over 10 years now. The classes that I teach are obviously this one. I also teach applied research at the master's level, both the first and second part of that. I teach SWK 621, which is integrative seminar, and then at the undergrad level, I often teach human behavior theory as well as social justice. I'm very excited again to spend the next 5 weeks with you. I'm going to give you a little heads up that I am making these video recordings at my home, and I have a dog and 2 cats, and so at some point during any of the recordings for this class, they may make an appearance by either barking or jumping on my lap, jumping in front of the computer. If that happens, I'm going to pretend like nothing's going on and try to just keep on going. Okay, so the goal of this first video is to just give you a quick overview of this class. We will briefly go through the syllabus. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you because obviously you can read it yourself. However, I do want to spend some time with you, aside from going over the syllabus, also just spending some time together going over our Canvas site. For some of you, this may be the very first time that you use Canvas. And I know for me, this is actually the first course I've taught using Canvas. I've used Blackboard up until now. So we are going to spend some time just going through Canvas and just showing you where everything's located on our Canvas site. So let's start there. As you can see, what's on your screen is our homepage. Obviously you found that because you have found the video that you're watching right now. When you look at this homepage, what you'll see is that I did provide a link right here for a Canvas tutorial. So if you are uncomfortable with Canvas, if you would like to spend some time familiarizing yourself with it, please click on this link. It will take you to the Canvas tutorials that have been provided by NKU. It is obviously very important for you to feel comfortable with Canvas because this is a fully online course. It's a 5-week class, so we have to hit the ground running. So please take some time to familiarize yourself with Canvas if you feel uncomfortable. I have tried to streamline this class very much so to make it as easy to navigate as possible. However, still, please feel free to use these tutorials to your advantage. This class is going to be broken down into 5 modules. You can see them right here on the screen. Module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we're really going to do in this class is during Module 1, we're going to give an introduction as to what family policy is. What's a family? What's the definition of family? What's the definition of family policy? And what does a family policy analysis look like? So that will be our first module. And from that point on, we're going to break this class down in more of a life cycle approach, meaning that we're going to spend each of the subsequent modules looking at how family policies impact people, family members, at different points in their lives. So at different ages, how are people impacted by different policies? So, for instance, Module 2 focuses on children and how family policies impact children. Module 3 focuses on adults and how policies impact adults. Module 4 focuses on specific subgroups of adults. And then Module 5 focuses on the elderly. For each of those modules, you will have to review materials. You will have to review some materials in the book that we have, our textbook, which our textbook is this one right here, so The Dynamics of Family Policy. This book was written by Butterfield, Roca, and Butterfield. So again, I'll hold it up a little bit closer. That is the textbook that you will need for this class. Hopefully you have it by now because, again, we have to hit the ground running. You will have to read 1 to 2 chapters in that book each week for each of the modules. In addition to that, I have provided you with other reading materials, links, website links that you will have to read. And then also each week I will have a mini lecture for you. The mini lectures will be very brief, ranging from just a few minutes to maybe 15 minutes. Again, not long, enough to just give you an introduction to that week's module and what we will be covering. Make sure that we're all on the same page. You can access each of those modules. So every week when we start a new module, you can access the materials for that module. At the very bottom of the home page, you will see 5 buttons at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 for each module. So for instance, for Module 1 for this week, you will click on Module 1, What is Family Policy? It will redirect you to this page, and it will give you access to any readings or materials that you need for that week, as well as giving you access to the assignments for that week. So you can see in week 1, we're focusing on what constitutes a family, what family policy is, and whether our country has a comprehensive or fractured family policy. And then you can see that for this week, you have to review this mini lecture that I've recorded for you, as well as chapters 1 and 2 from the book. Then, based on your review of these materials, you have to complete 2 assignments, a discussion board, and a quiz. That will be the case for each of the modules. So each week, you will have to complete a discussion board and a quiz. The quizzes will be about, will be about the chapters in the textbook, unless it's also otherwise specified. So some of the chapters in the textbook are quite outdated, especially, for instance, on same-sex marriage. So for that quiz, I will have assigned an additional reading for the quiz, and that will be noted. And then the discussion board is about all of the materials that you have read and reviewed for that week. Then, so you can access, I will just show you, you can access the discussion board right from this page. You just click on discussion board, and it will reroute you to your discussion board where you can then complete the assignment. You will see that for each discussion board, I will ask you several questions that are based on the materials that you've reviewed. You will answer those questions in your discussion board post. If you could please be so kind as to repeat each of the questions in your response, followed by your actual answer. That makes it a lot easier for me to ensure that you've answered each of the components of that discussion board. Once you've completed your discussion board, you can just hit on the home page again. And then if you need to go back to Module 1, you can scroll down, click on Module 1 again, and then you can also access the quiz from here. So again, you just click on the quiz button. It will take you to the quiz where you can just hit Take the Quiz. All of the quizzes, so there are 5 over the course of this, this class, and those 5 quizzes will each have 10 questions in them. And those questions will all be multiple choice, true, false. Then I also wanted to show you when you go back to a module page. So if we go back to Module 1, at the very bottom you'll also just see a button that allows you to return to the home page whenever you're ready to do so. So you just click Return to Home Page, and there you go. You're back at the home page. For the assignment, so again, you have 5 quizzes, 1 for each week. Each of those is worth 10 points for a total of 50 points. So half of your grade for this class is determined by these quizzes. Then you'll have 5 discussion boards, again, 1 for each module, 1 for each week. Those are 8 points each for a total of 40 points. And then you also have 1 final paper, which is due at the very end of this semester, or of this course, I should say. And that's July 1, and again, that is worth 10 points for a total of 100 points. So again, 1 discussion board each week, 1 quiz each week, and 1 final paper due at the end of this 5-week course. Another handy component of Canvas is if you scroll up and you go to syllabus. Obviously, you can access the syllabus here, but in addition to that, it also lists all of the due dates for all of the assignments in this class. That's a very nice feature that Canvas offers. So you can see that your first 2 assignments are due on June 3rd. That's your Module 1 assignments. So those are due on June 3rd. All of your assignments are always due on the Sunday of that week, and they are due by midnight at 11, I should say they are due by 11:59, so 1 minute till midnight. So at 11:59 on June 3rd is when your first 2 assignments are due. Please do not put off completing these assignments. Inevitably, people will run into some technical difficulties, their computer will shut down, their laptop won't work anymore. If that is the case, you need to allow yourself enough time to make alternate accommodations, whether that means going to the library, going to a friend's house, going to a parent's house. You need to allow yourself the time to deal with any technical difficulties that you may have. If there are extenuating circumstances that require you to ask for an extension on an assignment, then please contact me immediately so we can set that up together. If an assignment is turned in late and there was no prior agreement on submitting it late, then you will earn a 0 for that class, for that assignment. So we want to make sure that your assignments are submitted on time. Again, if for a specific reason you can't submit them on time, then please contact me so that we can set up alternate arrangements. Okay, so now let's go ahead and review the syllabus together. Okay, so here is our syllabus. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole syllabus with you. I know you can all read this perfectly fine. We're just going to touch on the highlights. So our highlights here are, this is a 5-week course. Again, it's fully online. Everything is Canvas-based. The course starts on May 29th and it ends on July 2nd. However, all assignments will be due, rather I should say your final paper and the final assignments for this class are going to be due on July 1st. So our class will effectively end July 1st. The purpose of this class, as the name suggests, is for us to just get a better understanding of how policies impact families. Again, we will start at the very basics with what is a family, how do we define family, how do we define family policies, and then how do we analyze the impact of policies on families. We will then also spend a very substantial amount of time actually examining specific policies that impact people at different points over the course of their lives. Okay, then what I'd like to do is just skip forward on the syllabus. Obviously, as any social work course would be, we value inclusivity, we value diversity. That means that we should be respectful of one another in all interactions, whether that be just email communication or communication on discussion board. We want to be respectful of each other, respectful of each other's opinions and values. It's very important. Also, from an integrity perspective, both academic integrity and professional integrity, we want to make sure that we conduct ourselves ethically. Again, that's standard procedure in any course, but it has to be included in our syllabi. That also includes that you should not ever plagiarize any materials. If you are using a source for your information, which you will be over the course of this semester, then please do not cut information verbatim from somebody else's materials and not use quotation marks. In fact, I would rather you not use direct quotes at all. I would rather you paraphrase the information, so put that information in your own words, and then obviously cite it appropriately. If you have any disabilities that you feel you could use assistance with, please contact the Disability Services Center on campus. They will be very happy to help you. I will ensure that all recordings I make have closed captioning so that anybody with a hearing impairment is able to use these materials just as anybody else would. I also want to point out that NKU has some services available that can be very beneficial to students. While it's something that often may not be talked about, many college students, whether you're at the undergrad or the grad level, many students struggle with food insecurity. Hunger is a big problem. College students often do not have that much money, and they may have to make some tough decisions between paying for tuition, paying for housing, and not necessarily having money left over to buy food. NKU does have its own food pantry. It's called Fuel NKU. Fuel NKU is located in the University Center in room 142. They are a wonderful resource on our campus. They have food items as well as hygiene items. I strongly urge you to use this resource if you can benefit from it. The only thing you need to be able to access services there is your NKU All card. And if you don't have one of those, you can get that very easily in the student union. That is not a big deal. So please utilize this resource if it's something that you can benefit from. You can go to fuel@nku.edu's website if you would like to. And they can then, or just on NKU's search engine, just go to Fuel at NKU, and that will take you immediately to their website so that you can see what their hours of operation are. Also, another problem on college campuses across our nation is sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking. We know that those numbers are quite staggering, especially on college campuses, but also nationwide, anywhere, not just college campuses. NKU does have the Norse Violence Prevention Center. The Norse Violence Prevention Center provides confidential services to any student who has experienced sexual assault, dating violence, or stalking. Whether it's recent or longer ago, you can seek out services there. They are located in the student union, and they would be more than happy to help you. Their phone number is located right here. Finally, we also know that anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues are quite common among college students. College students do face a considerable amount of stress. So we do have our counseling center available on campus. At this point, it's $15 per visit without insurance. If you have insurance, you can use it there. They do accept insurance. I urge you, if you are struggling with any mental health concerns, please use those services. Again, their phone number is located right here in the syllabus. Okay, then we get back to the specifics of this course. So, as I showed you before, this is the textbook that you will have to have for this class. If you don't have this book yet, you need to get it immediately. They do have it at our NKU bookstore, or you can purchase it online. Online is usually quite a bit cheaper, but at this point, if you don't have it yet, it's all about getting it with considerable speed. In addition to this textbook, I have quite a few readings that I will be providing you. Again, you can find those under the module buttons, which I just showed you on Canvas. And then again, I will also be recording or have mini lectures available for you for each of the modules as well. I already talked about the structure of the course. Again, 5 modules. For each module, there is a button at the bottom of the home page. You can access all the reading materials for that week under that button, as well as being able to access the assignments for that week. Okay, let's keep scrolling down. Again, 5 quizzes. Each of them is worth 10 points, so half of your grade in this class is determined by those quizzes. 5 discussion boards, each is worth 8 points for a total of 40 points, and then your final paper is 10 points. Again, I do not accept late assignments unless we had unless there was prior approval and prior arrangements. Overview of the assignments. So again, I provide some detailed information here about the quizzes, the discussion board, and your final paper. The main thing to know about the quizzes is that they are generally based on the content from the textbook unless I specify differently. There are, again, certain modules where there's an additional reading that goes with it simply because the textbook is outdated on that topic. I will make quizzes available to you at 6 a.m. on the Monday that module begins, and those quizzes will close at 11:59 on the Sunday of that week. Let's see here. For the quizzes, I also wanted to point out that there is no time limit, so you can take as much time as you'd like. However, again, it has to be completed by 11:59 of the Sunday of that week for that module. You also only get 1 attempt, so once you start the quiz, you have to finish it in 1 sitting. For the discussion board posts, again, you'll have 5 total over the duration of this course. They will be based on all of the materials that you've reviewed for that particular module. Again, they will be due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Then As I mentioned before, I ask that you please reiterate the different questions for each discussion board, and that you then provide your response to each of those questions in your discussion board post. So again, if I have 4 different questions for a particular discussion board, then in your answer, please restate my question, followed by your response, then restate the next question, your response, etc. The written presentation of these discussion boards are very important. They should be of the same quality as a paper that you would be submitting, which means that you need to have good grammar, spelling, clarity, organization of your thoughts should all be good. You also cannot plagiarize your information from other sources, which means that you would have to cite appropriately. And if you do choose to use direct quotes, which I strongly urge you not to, but if you do use direct quotes, then certainly you need to use quotation marks and an appropriate citation. Make sure that each of your discussion board posts is answered thoroughly. So based on your answer, I should be able to tell that you have thoroughly reviewed all of the content for that week. The answers, again, should be your answers should be in-depth enough to show me that you have processed the information that you have reviewed for that week. I also need to point out that for the discussion boards, I do not require you to respond to your peers' posts. So for each discussion board, I'm only expecting you to provide your own answer. I am not expecting you to respond to others' posts. If you would like to respond to somebody else's post, you certainly can, but it is not an expectation for this class. If you do choose to respond to somebody else's post, then please make sure that you're being very respectful of other people's thoughts and opinions. Then you also have a final paper. Your final paper is due July 1. For this final paper, which I would really like you to think about this final paper throughout the course, so don't wait till week 5 to start working on this. For this final paper, it is only going to be 2 pages in length, double spaced. So this is a brief paper. I'm going to ask you to choose one of 2 policies. You can choose either abortion policy or euthanasia. And then based on the policy that you choose, which one of those 2 you choose, you will have to answer the 5 questions that are listed right here in the syllabus. So you have to say, which policy did you choose? Who does this policy affect? Describe the policy. What is the goal or the purpose of that policy? Is the policy the same across states or is it different? Explain your answer. What are the intended and unintended consequences or outcomes of this policy? In order to complete this assignment, you will have to use 3 reputable sources, and of course you'll have to cite those sources. When you cite it, you will have to use APA formatting. In order to if you're not comfortable with APA formatting just yet, you can go to this website right here. OWL at Purdue has a really good website to help with that. And also on Canvas, I have an APA cheat sheet that I've provided to help. Again, just like with the discussion boards, when you write this paper, please restate each of my 5 questions followed by your response to each. Then the last section of the syllabus just gives the class schedule. So again, it breaks it down into week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It tells you what materials to read and then what assignments to complete, which is very straightforward because it's the same every week. And then it also gives you the due dates for each of those assignments. So that's it for the syllabus. Let me think if there's anything else that I would like to share with you. I believe, I also just wanted to point out, obviously this is very similar to Blackboard. Under announcements is where when I post announcements, they will all show up there. Under grades, you will see each of the assignments, again, with the due date and then the score that you received out of the total amount of points that you could have earned. So those are really only tabs that you have access to in Canvas. So it's very, very straightforward. Okay, I think that's it for our initial video for you to get an idea of what to expect in this course. Please know that I am very approachable. If you have any questions at all, if you have concerns, please let me know. I'm happy to help you. This is an online course, but I'm very easy to reach through email. My email address is on the syllabus. It's mackec1@nku.edu. So that's mackec1@nku.edu. Again, it is on the syllabus. Please email me. You can also email me through Canvas if you'd like to. Just please feel free to contact me anytime you need any questions answered. If you would like to meet in person sometime, then certainly we can schedule a time for us to meet. I'm happy to make myself accessible to you if you feel that you could benefit from that. So please contact me as needed. Let's have a great 5 weeks together. It will fly by, I promise you. This first week, again, I will have a brief mini lecture about week 1 that just talks about what to expect this week. All right, thanks everybody. Welcome to SWK621. Bye.